absolute gorgeous, awesome site. I am not a designer. You'll never see me do a session on theming. This is my bland, boring, get the job done website, dougvan.com. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, where we couldn't make it to the Super Bowl this year, so Super Bowl is coming to us. We're hosting it in February. I don't think we'll be in it. A moment of silence. But I love my town. I do a lot of Drupal training. This year's been an awesome year. It's been the year of government and the private or public sector for me. Ohio State University and the Board of Regents in Ohio has had me out for 800, 900 hours this year. New York Attorney General's office in Albany, I was out there for 2 days training their staff. U.S. Federal Court, Southern District of Indiana for 3 days. U.S. federal court systems are adopting Drupal in a huge way, saving a lot of money. They're facing these nasty budget cuts, and they got to go some license free. And they're raising their internal knowledge base. I'll be at Langley Air Force Base in a week and a half at NASA, training 15 NASA IT people on site building and module development. So you can't join me there, but I'll be there. It'll be fun. It'll be a blast. Today our topic is Tame That Wild WYSIWYG. What you see is what you sometimes get. What you see is what you never get. Why don't I get what I want? Your way, right away. Whatever you want to call it, it's not really what you're hoping it'll be. But it is what it is. So I set up this Drupal Camp Atlanta install while I was pretending to listen to somebody else's session. If that's what you do, you spend the session before yours, ignoring the person and preparing for your own. This is the module filter module if you've never seen it. The module filter module puts the vertical tabs on the left for all your categories of modules and lets you search through things and filter. There are 3 modules with the word filter in it. The filter module, the module filter module, and the PHP filter module. So I recommend highly the module filter module. It's fun to say too in repetition like that. But anyhow, we need to do some other things. I'm going to start off with a bang here. When I do WYSIWYG, I go to Drupal.org, and honestly, ever since the redesign, I have not yet been able to figure out how to get to things. So I just go to the address bar because I've been around too long to mess with the new navigation, project/modules. And I'm there. I think there's a button on that page somewhere that gets me right to this point, but I always promise myself I'm going to find it before my next session, and I don't. So if you look around for WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. Say it while you type it. You never get it wrong. Never. So limit ourselves to 7 here. 7. And most installed's ridiculous. Honestly, relevancy should be the default. I need to file an issue queue on that, or jump on the bandwagon of those who have. So WYSIWYG module by Sun. I prefer the WYSIWYG module. Who among you has gone the WYSIWYG module route versus straight to the CK editor or some other module route? Yeah. Oh, I asked both, didn't I? Okay, straight to the editor module. And WYSIWYG module via. Okay, yeah, there you go. So, all right then. I'm going to go this route, WYSIWYG. This is an API, kind of a bridge to give you access. The beauty of this is you can have TinyMCE for this user, CK editor for this guy, BU editor over here for this for anonymous comments, if you allow anonymous comments that are controlled by Mullen. So you can have different editors for different things, and it's very nice. I have heard that you can do that by installing multiple editors, but I don't quite understand how it could be so easy and effective. But I haven't done it. So I'm coming down to the tar.gz. Copy link address to the 7x21 version. Back to my site to install a new module. So I'm installing the WYSIWYG from URL. Don't you love Drupal 7's new package installer? Isn't that awesome? I would drush this, but I know you guys get tired of the command line. I'd probably clear the room. There's half of you maybe. So I will not do, okay, I got to do one thing in command line today. Sorry, I can think of now. So I got the WYSIWYG module. So install the newly enabled modules. Now if you can imagine I had 50 gazillion modules, by typing this in up here, it limits my search, my stuff here, just to what I'm looking for. That comes in handy when you have 17 pages of modules. Have I sold you on the module filter module? And also it keeps the save button right there. And if it's really long, it'll put 2, one on the top, one on the bottom. No scrolling, and wearing down your mouse pad. So that WYSIWYG is on, which I think is in structure, which I'm pretty sure is over in configuration, actually. Laugh at the jokes, not the mistakes. We talked about that. We drove here together. Be my sidekick, don't kick me in the side. And where on this page do we find wonderful things? What you see is, there she is, WYSIWYG profiles. So you get there, who's never seen the WYSIWYG profile page about to load right now? A couple of you, yeah, okay. It says not installed, not installed, not installed, not installed, not installed. Big waste of time. So CK Editor is by far the most popular. I'm finding a few. Are you hearing me okay? Are you primping your hair or asking for the, okay. So CK Editor is by far the most common, and it's my favorite as well. So I'll go to the download page. I do the command click or the Windows click for some of you, or control click, and that gives me the option of having even more tabs on my screen. I do hold the Guinness record. Don't challenge me. So I'm going to go for the download tar.gz, and it tells me actually, copy link address. It tells me right here if I click the download. Oh, it says extract the archive and copy its contents into a new folder in the following location: Sites, all libraries, CK Editor. Well, we don't have such a beast. I'm going to create that beast right now. Uh-oh, here's the command line. Boy. So that's how we do it. You can use FTP, you can use your cPanel file manager, you can do what you want to do. So make sure I'm in the right place. Make sure I wasn't working on a client's project a moment ago. I'm not on some important server in Chicago here. Okay, so I'm in the right place. So they want me to create, let's look at it again. Extract the archive, which I got from the link they gave me to CK Editor. So I got the link from the tar.gz right there. And I will copy this over to Sites, all libraries, CK Editor. So change directory to Sites, all. And there is no libraries, so I'll make one. You can do this with your FTP client or whatever you have going on. Libraries, I always look at it before I hit the enter key. Library, I got enough R's, and I got the vowels in the right order. So go into the libraries folder and check back one more time. Sites, all libraries, CK Editor. If I do a wget, or you can do an FTP or whatever your poison is, you know what? I want a Mac. Sorry. Got to do a curl -o. Can't do wgets on a Mac unless you spruce them up a little. I haven't gotten around to this newer one. So here's my tar.gz file that, again, I copied from over here, the link to CK Editor's site right here, and I copied the destination of that. You can download it locally and FTP it right back up to your Sites, all libraries. So there's a couple different ways of doing it. Hit enter. Great, no ports are shut down and nothing's filtered on the wireless here in the building, so I get to do my session. And I'm thinking I should have tested that. So this, it's done, awesome. So now if we look at it, it is a compressed file. I'll do a tar.xf, or you'll do an uncompressed from your client or whatever it is you'll be using of CK Editor. And now what do we have? We have the file in there. So if you look at it, we have Sites, all libraries, and a directory called CK Editor is inside there. Let's check back with the WYSIWYG module, Sites, all libraries, CK Editor. I think we're doing pretty good so far. So if I refresh this page, I get a different page. So this is the page you get when you do have at least one WYSIWYG installed. I can keep on going. If I want to install some others, down here under the installation instructions is this that same interface we saw a moment ago. So this was not available because it wasn't viable. This was all we had. I can install more editors at this point, but I will not. Can't make me. Now, interesting things are going to happen here. By default, we all know that filtered HTML is very filtered. If you put an image tag in, it gets stripped out. There's a lot of things that get stripped out. So many times I see in IRC, Internet Relay Chat, or in the forums, or in the hallways, hey, I put images in, but then I save it, and it looks good on the preview, but then I save it, and it's gone, because you're using the filtered HTML, and Drupal is doing what it's supposed to be doing and taking stuff out. So down here, I leave no editor unfiltered. I put my editors on CK Editor, I'm sorry, on full HTML. That way, it actually accepts the majority of the tags you're going to want to use. So I will save that. Now, another funny thing is, by default, and I don't know if this is necessarily a good thing, but there are nothing. There's nothing here. You can't bold. Nothing's set by default. So I'll just add a couple of them here, and I will save this. So we had no WYSIWYG editor. I put the WYSIWYG module in there. I put the CK Editor and the Sites, all libraries. I set the CK Editor to be active on the full HTML filter. So as you're looking at a body or any other field you create, either the body field that Drupal creates for you, or any long text fields or that you create for yourself later on using fields interface, you will now have the option to, when you're on full HTML, to have this editor available to you. No, is there a downside to having everything checked, other than the fact that the control is like just god-awful ugly, and you're looking for, they start looking all alike, and you've been, it's 3 a.m. and you want to get done with this, but you're like, which button is it? And screw it and go to bed. I don't think so, no, because it looks for Sites All Library CK Editor. It doesn't look for Sites All Library CK Editor 5 or, so I don't think you can have multiple versions. You could probably hack it up and make it work, but out of the box, no. So by default, my filter here is my text format. I gotta speak Drupal 7. My text format is by default filtered, but when I change it to full, I get the 3 buttons that I had. So this shouldn't be too earth-shattering. This is not taming your wild WYSIWYG. This is just getting it up and running. So we're gonna get ready to tame it because it's almost getting wild here. Another thing else that we know is over on configurations, WYSIWYG, we know that while there is an image button available, buttons and plugins, while there is image available, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, there she is. We do know that this does not allow any uploading of images. You have to put in the URL of an image, which would probably be sourced from a different site. And they're going to get records saying, well, Michael Cummings' domain is pinging our site for about 17 images a couple thousand times a day. And so obviously you need to be hosting your own images and not stealing off of somebody else. So the image module gives us a limited functionality of that. Who's not familiar with the IMCE plugin to allow you to upload images from your machine? Anybody not familiar with that? Okay, good, we'll do it, because I was going to do it anyhow. So you have a WYSIWYG, and I might as well just go ahead and demo that. Did I save that? I think I did. I'll go back to add content, and I'll do my command click again so I can have more tabs. So back on my article, I got this WYSIWYG here. And here, I write custom code to put rules on that. I honestly don't know what limited allowances there are for you to set the defaults at various levels, other than the simple fact of if you make the filtered HTML text format not available to any users or roles, then it never shows up. So that's the cheap fix. I do a more complicated fix because I have very, more rules and logic behind it, but restricting the filtered so that it never shows up. The exception being you do want it to show up for anonymous in many cases. So yeah, so looking at the image, just to make me a truthful man, there is no upload interface here. You've got to plug in the URL and suffer the slings and arrows of copyright infringement from other sites. And it's all logged. There's your IP, it's right there. So don't do it. Let's head over to Drupal.org. Where did I put it? There it is, okay. So the WYSIWYG module says that it plays well with others. But where does it say this? It has maintainers, it has project links. I thought at one time it had IMCE referenced in here. IMCE appears once. Oh, related projects, it's on the right column now. So IMCE WYSIWYG bridge. So IMCE allows the upload interface that everybody loves and allows to use. The English isn't always good on Drupal.org. It's the understood you. Allows you to use IMCE module with WYSIWYG module. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this quickly. I'm going to grab the 7x version, copy link address, head over to my site, go to modules. I'm going to cook through this and we're going to spend some quality Q&A at the end. Install new modules using the awesome package installer that Joomla and WordPress have had for years. And we finally got ours January 1st, or January 7th of this year, when they released Drupal 7. Install it. Now I'm not going to enable that because obviously it's a dependency of something else. So I'm going to find my Drupal.org again. It says it plays well with the IMCE module, which I have not installed yet. So I'm going to do that now. And it's probably noted here that says you got to have IMCE WYSIWYG, IMCE bridge to use it on that. So I'm going to grab this, copy it. And this is all these modules I believe are listed on my session page. So I grab 7x, okay, I'm good there. Back to the, enable newly added modules. There needs to be a link there to add another. Who's keeping track of these issues we want to file? I'm not doing it. So now I'm going to install the IMCE itself. If you were doing just the CK editor module and the IMCE module, that'd be the end of it. You wouldn't need the WYSIWYG module or the WYSIWYG bridge. But I do. What did I do? What did I just do? Choose. Thank you. Not install. Typing and talking. Friends don't let friends type and talk. So now we're back to our module filter module, which is beautiful because I know I'm talking about IMCE, right? I've only got a couple options now, so I hope you're falling in love with this. When I found this module, it had been like out for like many, many months. I'm like, no, I don't know one who uses this. What's wrong with them? I love this thing. Love the module filter module. Cindy, did you know about this module? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. It should be in core. Give me one reason it should not be in Drupal 8 core. You can turn it off if you don't like it. The module filter module. These cool tabs, it should absolutely be in Drupal 8 core. Turn it off if you don't like it. Like the dumb overlay. I keep it on though because all my training I use the overlay because I think I got to give them a chance. So that is on now. So what's that do? Okay, that's the biggest problem in Drupal. Hey, I read the project page, I downloaded the right version for it, and I got it in, and I remembered to enable it. Where do I go? What do I do? Well, if you don't have Doug Van around, you jump into the forums and Google it and go to Drupal-support and IRC. If you're not using IRC chat for Drupal, you're really missing it. A lot of great, I just watch it sometimes. People ask questions like, well, that's a good question. I have no answer for that. And then I'll see the answer. I'm like, ah. And then, some weeks later, someone will ask the question in my presence, and I'll just spout off with the answer like I know it all. And so I'm going to go back and edit my buttons, and we're going to see some new buttons. Look at that. And it's all blue, too. Kind of draws attention to itself. So that's going to plug in with our image. Now I'm going to go back to my create article. I'm going to refresh this page. It's the same icon. You know what? When you refresh the page, it goes back to filtered. So I'm going to reconstitute the WYSIWYG. Now, when I go to do this, I have browse server. That wasn't there a moment ago. That's IMCE and the IMCE bridge, or is it the WYSIWYG bridge? I think it's listed on my project on my session page. So just a real quick trip down memory lane of this. Here's my list of all the files I've ever uploaded on this site that I only created an hour ago. So this is a repo here. You've got multiple users uploading images and files and PDFs and whatever they're doing. They're sitting here, and you can put them in directories. You can secure them. Marketing can only see their marketing folder, and whoever else, sales, can see sales folder. You can do a lot of really rich asset management here, document management. Drupal doesn't excel at that, and you're going to come very quickly to a point where you need some code. But you can get some good quality document management, asset management going. I'm going to upload a photo. I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to find something really fun, maybe a picture of me when I used to have hair or something. That's what I typically do. Nope. We'll just do that one. So look at this. I get 3 options instantly. This is not the image styles. This is not the current version of image cache. This is its own little interface. I can shrink these down to little icon-y looking things. And I'll do it just for kicks. Lacking dexterity today. 224. No file chosen. What? Oh, that's right. So I uploaded that one. Then you have to close this. So here are the files I uploaded. Here's the original at 267 by 331. Is that very visible? Are we good? Is it going off the page? That's good. Okay, good. Oh, it is good. So the original I uploaded was 143 kilobytes, and it had those width and height. There's no extra H in height. And then there's the 3 versions I made, so that's kind of handy. And I can always come in after the fact and choose an existing image and say, please resize that now. And I've heard people doing custom work to make different dimensions there. But I like the medium Doug Van. So I will say that. I will say insert file, because it could be a PDF, but it's an image in this case. And there I am in all my glory. Now this is telling me what's going to happen to this text. I don't like that. I want this to be like kind of newspaper, storybook looking. So I'm going to say, let's make the alignment to the left. So the image aligns to the left, and the text wraps up. But the text wraps up right up against the edge of the image. A little breather space would be very nice. I would take some horizontal space, maybe put, and I cannot remember, is it, okay, yeah, you don't put PX or anything else. Put a value in there and save it. And it does also go to the left and the right. So if you can adjust that elsewhere. So I will say OK. Say OK. There's my text. And you see my cursor blinking over here. And that is very cool. Everybody say, that's very cool. So as you throw your text in here, it's going to wrap and fall down. So we started off with a filtered field with no images allowed. We moved into images allowed if you break copyright laws. Then we moved into add your own images, and your text falls below it. Then we made text wrap up beside it. It was too close, we made it bigger. All thanks to IMCE Bridge, WYSIWYG, and the DCATL module. We view and review often. Those of you who are taking notes on how to make a really cool presentation. All right. All right. So we've done that much. Now I want to talk about pathologic and link it. Any questions about images yet? In the back, Malchus. You can't browse everywhere. If you have files over in your theme directory for your theming, your buttons and your cornered edges and your gradients, those are not accessible.
Well, okay, maybe I'm thinking about, what about other users uploading? You can't browse the files of other users, right?
By default, you all share a common directory, and that's configurable in the IMCE configurations. But you can also set up user-specific directories. Every user gets their own directory, and they cannot see each other's directories. I don't have any of those modules included right now, and that's the kind of thing I do so very rarely that I instantly forget how to do it. I just know I've done it, and it can be done. And it can be very rich. I mean, it's a very rich experience. Now, this is all in the context of a WYSIWYG, which WYSIWYG is not a great place to start doing document and asset management. How to just tuck it all into WYSIWYG. It's not so good, but it can be done. Yo. Yeah, we sure do. Well, there was a source button that I did not enable, so it'd be a little, like it says either says bragger HTML, and you can click that. So that's option 1, which is not an option at this moment. Option 2 is to disable rich text down here. And if I do that, I get nothing but the funk. And then if I re-enable it, I go there. Option 3 is to drop myself out of full, back down to filtered, and again, nothing but the funk. So yeah, so I go in. Those of us who know HTML, we get in there, we tweak it. I want this little thing, and I'm not going to do a button. I'm just going to do it that way. So yeah, 3 ways to get to the raw code if you can bear it. You know what? Come to think of it, the source button actually pulls up a pop-up modal, and it gives you a bigger area to work with, unencumbered by other assets on your page. And you can make it bigger and such. So yeah, it's actually a better interface. Yeah. And it's easier to deal with than changing your filter and turning things off. And it's right there where all your buttons are, very intuitive. I'm gonna head over to link it unless you have another image question over here. So you've uploaded images via standard image upload, and they're incorporated into a gallery, probably with views and such. Provided that where the images are located is accessible by DCATL and IMCE, yes. And I think by default they may be. So it shouldn't take any extra effort. Any more questions? I'll head off to link it. Alrighty, link it's cool.
Remove that filter HTML so that if they have anything right, so we can see the proper editor for it. You mentioned it.
I mentioned it, sure. I'll pop over to that. That's a fair question, Mr. Michael Cummings. I'm gonna head over to people and permissions and look for the word filter. Filters, use the filtered, use the filtered, nobody. Now you know what, I'm an admin, so I'm gonna still get it anyhow. So use the filtered HTML text format, no. Nobody has access to filtered HTML at this time. And that is saved, so I'll go to add content, article, and it still says filter because I'm user 1, I'm God, I can access things that no one else can. So at this point, all my end users and my pseudo managers and pseudo admins and content moderators and whatever they are, they do not have access to the filtered HTML, but I do. So is that fair? We understand that? Because you can never paint yourself into a corner with Drupal. You should never be able to paint yourself into a corner. If I can restrict myself from this, then so can somebody who's dubious. Not pointing fingers. So we're heading over to link it. So adding images is cool. That's important. Making things bold, italicized, and changing fonts is cool. Let's check out the link it. Here's the use case. You're building dev.howcoolamI.com. And you're eventually going to launch this to howcoolamI.com. And, but if you've got links, you're, in the middle of a body of a context of page, you want to link to a view, link to a term, a taxonomy term page, link to another node. And you're telling your content editors and your content importers, you know, don't type in dev.howcoolamI.com. Don't give full, you know, full names, full paths. You got to make it relative, and you don't screw it up. And sure enough, you launch, and someone ends up clicking something. They get sent to their old dev site because somebody put the word dev in there, or it's just a broken link altogether. Link it to the rescue. The Link It module provides an easy interface for internal linking to pages within Drupal. Link It links to nodes, user pages, views, and terms by default using an autocomplete field. It's gorgeous. It's just nuts. I mean, just getting it done is cool, but the UI they wrapped in here is like, it's done. It's perfect. So I'm heading down to the Drupal 7 X12, copy the link address, head over to this page here, modules, and you will see that there's a requirement on this, install new modules. I could just drush this and be quicker, but install. Complete. Don't you love this? Package installers, enable new modules. So I'll put link it up here. Link it requires pathologic. Where's it at? Okay, requires pathologic right there, which is missing. So let's head over to the page. It says it's required by pathologic and gives us a nice quick link. Show it to me. Show it to me. Path. Whoa, clicking things, moving around too fast. Path auto. Pathologic. There she is. Pathologic. Good. So here's a pathologic module, which is just, what's this module do? Consider it doing nothing. It's doing some behind-the-scenes things that, that other modules require. So I'm going to grab this very quickly. We're doing great on time. Back to my site, add yet another module. We've added WYSIWYG, IMCE Bridge, and then we've added Pathologic and Link It. And now we're going to go back to newly enabled and all that good stuff. Link It. So here it is, Link It, module itself. Link It file, I can link to files. I can link to nodes. I can have very strict permissions about who can do what. You can link to views and terms, you can link to nodes, they can link to nothing. Link it to taxonomy term pages. I don't have any taxonomy set up right now. I don't have any nodes set up right now. I have one user though. So I will say, and then I need, you know the word pathologic doesn't show up here, so I'll just put logic. There she is. So I can change the interface around and it keeps all my old checkboxes. So here's my save button. Hit it once, turns on both of them. If I did not turn on pathologic, we all know that Drupal would say, hey, try and turn on Link It. It requires pathologic. Shall I turn that on for you? You say yes. Drupal's cool that way. So now back over to configurations, WYSIWYG profiles, edit. We're looking for new buttons. And we're going to look under buttons and plugins. We have Link It. And there are configurations to be made by clicking on either of these two items here. There are other ways to get there, but I like the fact that they're available from the buttons link. I'm going to save that. I need some content. I should have, someone to add content here. And if I was not user 1, I would have an automatic WYSIWYG field here. But I will change it to full HTML. And here's a Link It button. You know what? We don't have a traditional link button turned on yet, but we do have a Link It button. So they're very different. So there would be a link and a link it. You want to link to CNN.com, use link. You want to link to yoursite.com/CNN, use the Link It button. Link to browse server. I can link to a file. This is very convenient. Yet another way of linking to a file. A PDF, an MP3. It won't load up a big player or anything, but it'll have the file available. A Word doc. Don't put Word docs on your site. Don't assume people have Office. Anyhow, and you can also wrap some titles, some HTML title, an ID, a class, relative anchors. You can do all kind of fun stuff with this. Now I need to create some content. Here's content number 1. Well, I do have tags turned on. Tag 1. Blah, blah, blah. I will save this. Okay. Now when I create a new page, add content. Imagine that I have hundreds and thousands of pages. And when I come to add a page down here, so I'm doing blah, blah, blah. And then right here, this blah, right there, it needs to link to another page. So link it. Links to content. Oh, so it shows me all the nodes across my whole site, which the page can barely contain my list. So, and it tells me what type is it? It's a node. Is it an event? Is it a story? Is it an article? Is it a product? It tells me what kind of type it is. And I will choose that, type node, and insert. Now that blah, unlike the previous and the afterward blah, is a link dynamically to the node, which I suspect will be node 1. So as I move this across servers and domains and whatever I do, that link will always be true. If I go, and I'll save this, this is page 2 with term 2. I will save this. And by clicking blah, it takes me to, whoa, why didn't that happen? Uh-oh. Node node? Why does it say node node? Why does it say node node? By the way, I gotta get over here and do this. Okay. I do it to myself. That was me in the front row earlier today doing that. Flash. So why does it go node node? You know what? I was on the right page, wasn't I? Here we go. Why do I have to show it off and mix it? So all your users have to do is take out the one node, and they're fine. I'll show you how to make a dynamic block that pops up on all your page not found pages to say, you may need to remove one excess example of node in your URL. So here's content 1, which is where I was headed for. And then I want to go to node 2. Look at my content. Good thing I'm up a little early here. So here's content number 2. Here's number 2. If I mouse over it, it does say node node. Anybody have a theory on this? What you got? You know what? Yeah, but why would it exist right now? It does. It just shows the code. I gotcha. Good idea, Carla. So here's my number 2. Look at the edit. Look at the source code, which for me means the sale in the rich. And it's going to say node node. It says there's not a preceding slash, and I'm not going to put it in there manually because that defeats the purpose of automating with the link it module. So my theory is going to be this: configuration. And who's the one keeping track of the issues we're going to file from this session? It's not issues with Doug Van, mind you. These are issues with Drupal and WYSIWYG and other things like that. Doug was awesome. He just the tools he was using were having issues, right? Okay. Other feedback forms? Never mind. So back to buttons and plugins. Let's click on link it and see if we have some options. If you see a button that says decrapify, if you choose that, it clears up most issues. Oh, it's a link to the module page. How useless is that? I thought it was a config page. In that case, I'll have to go over here. Here's link it settings. Thank you. Display node ID. That's fun because when it said type node, it'll say content, the title of the node, type node, and then the node ID, just in case. Oh, I've always known it's node 50, so it'll tell the node. Display the content type. Why not? Article. You know what? This is really worrisome. Includes content types and search results. This is worrisome. I see nothing in here about paths and slashes. Is it possible that they've updated the module to do something, they fixed another issue, and in doing so regressed into an old bug? Because last time I gave this demonstration, we were fine. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I did this in Asheville, didn't I? I did it in Asheville, August 12th. Look it up, it's on video. Don't watch this one. So content 2 has blah. And I wonder if it was in the creation of the reference. It was. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create this again. I'm going to create a new node. Where's my add? You know, the page not found button is void of so many buttons. Here we go. Add content. We're going to do it again and see if it makes it any different. We're going to call this the oh no page. And 1, 2, 3, and then 2 will be a link to, there's some editor on. That does get annoying. Full HTML. Link it. Okay, here we go. Link it. You can just cursor down, can we? No? Okay, so to content 1. Type. So we've added some ideas here. That's type of node, node 1, and content type is article. So we see that cool stuff. There, and then attributes is not where this is going to change anything. That's just silly. Yeah. So we will see what happens now. We'll save it again. Insert. Right. Save it. I'm going to click it. Oh, it says node 1 again, doesn't it? Down in the system bar. Path tokens? There should be token options for Linked. Say again? There'll be no puns in this session. Just buggy modules, no puns. So, well, I'll have to file an SUQ on this one. And in fact, I guess we could take a look right now. And see if by chance someone's complaining. But you do get the idea, do you not? Only 18 open issues. Link at href instead of actual links passed by reference, upgrading. Past your file doesn't work. No, I don't see it. So it only happens on Saturdays in Atlanta. On Doug Van's Mac, on his personal Mac server here. So, well, despite the lackluster issue of the buggy link it module, you do get the point. What a drag. What a drag. Could there possibly be any questions after that? Really? It said that?
No, I mean, not, it didn't say it here, but I've come across a similar issue before. That was one of the settings of the site itself.
So who has an idea of a configuration page that might address the settings we're thinking of? I can't think of one. It's non-performance. Caching, no, it's definitely not there. I don't even have path auto turned on. Or URL aliases. Or I guess I do have, it's on by default, isn't it? There's nothing in here, of course, that's going to affect that. Shouldn't be. It wasn't conflicting on August 12th. Did I? What are my versions? That's a good question. So this is the Drupal troubleshooting session. Welcome. My name is still Doug Van. Yeah, I was making time for bugs, for debug. Let's just turn all these on, shall we? I can't imagine why not having one of these on would cause any issues, but I'm willing to try anything. Oh! And when you use pathologic, he said the P word. When you use pathologic, let me show you a trick that makes things work better for you. Wow. I cut myself off at 10:30 last night. All my friends still went out being crazy. I thought, no, I got a session tomorrow. I got to be on top of my game. Text formats. Okay, so there, on your configuration page, there is a content authoring section that has text formats. So you can add new formats. You can have your own text filters. If you edit the full HTML, you will see there is an option for correct URLs with pathologic. I was really hoping that one of you guys would figure that out. I let it go longer than usual. And if you don't have pathologic installed, you can't use link it. And if you have pathologic and link it installed, you have to go into, as I've suddenly remembered, shockingly, you must go into this page. It was only a few months ago I shot a friend in IRC, or no, I Skyped him. It was that important. Dude, pathologic and link it's not working. It was like February, March. I did this exact same thing. If you can't make the same mistake at least twice or thrice a year, don't make any. That's my policy.
What was the step before you got to that, where you checked off? You went to configuration and then there?
Text formats. Just before that was looking like a fool, but after that was the text formats. So I will save the page, save the session, save the world. No Heroes fans? Yeah. Someone unplugged the camera. So now I'm going to go back to, now here's a question. Is this retro? Is it going to be retro? Who says retro? Who says I got to make new links? Make new. So here's my content. Here's number 2. It's just a node ID reference. So if I go to, what? Here's the, look at that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do it.